If someone had asked me 4 years ago, Justin, would you be interested in becoming the next Obscura lead guitar player? It would be a dream come true for me, even though my guitar technique wasn't ready at this time. If somebody would ask me the same question today, I would say, hell no. Today I want to take you on a journey how I become a fan, later a friend, and then being disappointed. This is the downfall of Obscura. Before we begin, let me say that my perspective is undoubtedly biased. I know one side of the coin better than the other. I hesitate to share some of my experience because I'm not the biggest fan of internet drama. However, recent events that could have an effect of bands where I'm a part in have compelled me to break my silence and to share my specific outsider perspective. I want to show you why Obscura is such a unique band, how it evolved through the years, and why, unless the behavior of a certain individual won't change, I see the downfall of that band. The Origins of Obscura. Obscura is a technical progressive death metal band formed in the early 2000s by Jonas Baumgartl, Armin Seitz, Martin Ketzer and Stefan Kummerer. Their debut record, Retribution, was a traditional death metal album. In my opinion, it wasn't really groundbreaking, and it's definitely not a record that I listen on a regular basis. After going through several lineup changes, Hannes Grossmann, Jeroen Paul Tesseling and Christian Mintzner joined the band in 2007 and 2008. With the release of Cosmogenesis, Obscura gained a much larger international audience. Cosmogenesis was in general a much more musical album, incorporating progressive and neoclassical elements together with that stunning virtuosity and technical brilliance. I love that record. Tracks like Anti-Cosmic Overload and Universe Momentum became Obscura classic. Hannes' relentless and creative drumming, Christian's shred-inspired solos, and Jeroen's melodic expression gave the band its iconic sound, evolving it into what fans know and love today. The 2010s saw a surge of technical death metal bands, and I think it's fair to say that 2 records spearheaded this movement: Epitaph by Necrophagist and Cosmogenesis by Obscura, both featuring Christian Mintzner and Hannes Grossmann. After relentless touring, the band released their 3rd album, Omnivium. It was darker and more progressive, with most of the writing attributed to drummer Hannes Grossmann. Unfortunately, more lineup changes followed. First, Jeroen left the band and was replaced by longtime band member Linus Klausenitzer. Hannes Grossmann and Christian Mintzner later on also departed. 8 to 9 years later, in 2019, I had become a big Christian Mintzner fan, not only loving Obscura but also his solo records, Eternity's End and Alkaloid. I conducted a major interview with him for my YouTube channel that you can watch right here. And there I realized, public available information already painted a challenging picture of life as a touring member in Obscura. Privately, what Christian shared with me was even more disheartening. Touring with Obscura wasn't about sex, drugs and rock and roll. It is more about no sleep, Monster energy drinks, and a lot of -7 flat 5 arpeggios. Playing such technical demanding music while dealing with grueling schedules, driving all day, missing sleep, and having no time for proper sound checks or warm-ups makes everything exponentially harder. Bands like this need your support. Go to shows, buy merch. Without this and without your support, a live culture in this kind of music will definitely die out. Around this time, tensions within the band started to surface. The songwriting process seemed strained, a tab book full of inaccuracies and old tabs and solos was released without Christian Mintzner's knowledge. And as I already said, touring became increasingly stressful and exhausting. These challenges, coupled with a shift in musical vision, led Hannes and Christian to form the band Alkaloid in 2014, a group where I had the honor to tour with and to play shows with them, and I can't wait to play some future shows with these guys. Christian also founded Eternity's End, a band I've been a part of since 2021. In 2015, auditions began for new drummers and lead guitarists, which was when I first discovered Obscura. At that time, I was studying jazz guitar in university, and one of my colleagues and good buddies, Max Jentsch, he came up to me like, "Hey dude, you like shred and you like progressive stuff? There's that band called Obscura, they're looking for a new lead guitar player. You definitely should audition." And I, back in the day, had absolutely no clue who Obscura was. Thinking that Obscura was a local kind of metal band with people that are younger than me, I wrote a pretty naive email to Steffen which went like this. Hi, I'm Justin Hombach. I play jazz guitar and yeah, I'm studying music and maybe we should hang out a little bit and jam together and you show me what you got and what you guys can do. And of course the response to that email was more like, nope, not what we are looking for. And then afterwards I realized, oh, wait a second, who are these Obscura guys? And then, oh, okay, old school necrophages, oh, 𝙤𝙤𝙦𝙨, Hannes Grossman, oh, shit. So maybe in a different world, where I had written a different email, maybe things would look differently nowadays. Maybe in another dimension. Back into 2015, the new band members of Obscura are announced. We have Tom Geldschläger on guitar and Sebastian Lancer for the duty of drums. That same year they released what is still my favorite Obscura album, Akroasis. As unique as the sound of this record is, so it is backstory. In hindsight, I've seen both sides of what's happening during that recording process. In 2020, I interviewed Tom Geldschläger for my YouTube channel and we quickly became really close and really good friends. Since then, we have regular calls talking about mental health as a musician. I show him some right-hand stuff. He's showing me some left-hand wizardry, and I'm really anticipating the record that will come this year, and I really can't wait for future music of Tom. From the perspectives I know, primarily Tom and Linus, it seems this album is Obscura's sand anger. Not musically, of course, but in terms of what went on behind the scenes. A lot of things were rushed, the process was emotionally grueling, and the stress was overwhelming. Yet the music emerged is phenomenal. Tom's playing polarized the fan base, but I love his fresh and innovative approach. This was also the first time where Linus contributed as a songwriter, and I deeply admire him not only as a person and as a human being, but also as one of the finest bass players that I've had ever the honor to work with. Then there's Sebastian Lancer, one of the best drummers in the world. I've spent countless of hours watching his drum playthrough of �10 marveling at his focus and control. His drumming inspired me as a guitarist to strive for that same level of precision. And playthroughs are definitely going to be a topic in a minute, yes. Unfortunately, Tom was dismissed from the band on the final day of mixing the album, which marked the beginning of public disputes between certain members and Steffen Kummerer. There were interviews where both sides clashed. Back to the music, Akroasis is the must-listen for anyone interested in technical death metal. The title track boasts a stunning guitar solo, �10 has an incredible vibe, and �̬𝙗𝙀 is an absolute death metal epic. After Tom's departure, Raphael Trujillo joined as his replacement, and I don't need to explain what an absolute beast Raphael is on guitar. At just 20 years old, he had to fill big shoes. Not only Christian Münzner's neoclassical shredding, but also Tom's unique style. Raphael struggled with the latter initially, but considering his age back in the day and the short time preparing these music for upcoming tours, who am I to judge? I wouldn't have done it better. I couldn't have done it better. Over time, Obscura seemed to achieve stability, with a consistent lineup and less public drama. For a while, it appeared that they had become a true unit. The next album, Delirium, is their most progressive and mature work, and this is another record that I absolutely love. The interplay between Raphael and Sebastian, the melodic bass lines, it is also the best production by 𝙗𝙗𝙗𝙗, who had produced all Obscura records up to that point. As a fan, I saw Obscura as a team like the Ninja Turtles. Raphael and Sebastian as the brains and technical masters, Linus as the fun-loving party dude, and Steffen as the leader who might not match the others' technical level but respected their genius. Little did I know how wrong I was. Fast forward to 2021 when I joined Eternity's End, Christian Münzner's power metal band, alongside Linus on bass and Hannes on drums. And around this time I began to see Obscura in a new light, and I start to think, how long will this work out? In early 2020, Raphael, Sebastian and Linus left Obscura to form Obsidious. I suspected they wanted to build on the complexity and musical freedom they had developed on Delirium. Perhaps Steffen's guitar abilities limited that freedom. By then it was widely acknowledged that Steffen's guitar playing wasn't on par with his bandmates, and he hadn't made much effort to maintain consistency on his instrument. Over the years, I heard isolated live snippets of his guitar parts, and it was such a mess I couldn't recognize this song. It was Anti-Cosmic Overload, by the way. Around this time, Steffen also began making questionable decisions, such as deleting playthrough videos featuring former bandmates. And he had done this in the past already. Over the years, Tom always tried to post playthroughs of him playing Akroasis or other songs from that particular record, solos that he wrote, and they all got deleted. And it is still to this day. Whenever Tom is trying to upload a playthrough or even a live video of him playing the Akroasis solo, it will get deleted. And the excuse why Steffen is doing it is because they will harm Obscura's image. Wow, this is how you think about your ex-bandmates, that videos of them playing the solos they wrote will harm your image? This will harm your image? Really? Okay. He also published tab books and made money without the consent of the other members, a recurring issue. After the Deluvium lineup dissolved, 𝙠𝙝𝙚𝙠𝙗 joined on the drums, while Christian Münzner and 𝙬𝙚𝙙𝙀𝙀 returned on guitar and bass, respectively. Together, they created a valediction, which leaned more toward melodic death metal than technical death metal. While the fan base opinion is split, I personally really like that record. It featured strong riffs and solos, mostly written by Christian Münzner, because when I can tell you one thing is that Christian definitely knows how to write good songs. He really trained his craftsmanship in songwriting and solo writing. There he's an absolute master in it. However, tensions flare again. 𝙬𝙀𝙢𝙢 left the band and was replaced live by Alex Weber. 𝙠𝙝𝙙𝙀𝙀 struggled to tour due to his teaching job, limiting his availability. But still, after extensive touring, the band began writing the next album in late 2023, early 2024. Christian cleared his schedule to focus on songwriting, knowing how critical a strong follow-up would be. He was always aware how important it is to have strong music, especially in this kind of feel, and to show yourself, composing-wise, as the best side that you can be, and not doing something half-baked or half-ass. And we actually had to postpone something because we planned to do a video masterclass about his time in Necrophagist back in the day, and we had to postpone that for a few weeks because Christian needed that focus to do the best songwriting that he can do at that time. Yet Steffen insisted on contributing more of his material, leading to conflicts, because so far the music of Obscura, from Cosmogenesis to A Valediction, was written to 80% by the other musicians, by the other lead guitar player, the drummer, and the bassist. And this led to conflict, and I witnessed these tension and these conflicts firsthand. And you want to know why? Because it all happened here. I mean, this is now my bedroom, so now not with me and Christian here in the bed. This used to be my studio where I filmed all of my stuff. And it was here, exactly on this place. I was sitting right here on my gaming PC, and shit was going down. Oh yeah. Steffen was really frustrated that Christian reworked riffs where he was working on. But imagine yourself back when you were 13 years old and you were writing your first metal riff. And then you made out of that metal riff your first metal song. Remember that song? Remember these riffs that we wrote? Now there were 3 of them in that. And what Christian made out of these riffs and these songs was really phenomenal. It was really great. It was really good technical death metal that went into the right direction. And Steffen's original ideas were basic and repetitive, lacking the innovation Christian brought to the table. They eventually agreed to revisit the material after the next European tour. However, following the tour, Christian, David and Alex left the band. The problem was, and Christian already talked about this, that the songwriting process afterwards was extremely rushed, artificially rushed. Everybody was asking to postpone the studio date a little bit so that they have more time to work on these ideas, because those ideas were just too weak for Obscura. No, it doesn't seem that there were any compromise possible, which led eventually to the breaking point. They just couldn't stand behind the music that wasn't up to their standards. After that, a few months passed by and Obscura never really announced the departure of David, Alex and Chris. They never really announced the departure of 𝙬𝙀𝙢𝙢 anyway. But what was announced by Obscura, or by Steffen alone, was that they are going to play some live shows. And not any live shows, big festivals in the summer of 2024, like Summer Breeze and Partisan. And on Partisan I saw them because we played with Alkaloid on the same day. And around that time, everybody was questioning who's going to be the new guitar player the new bassist and the new drummer. There were even some rumors in the scene that Jeff Loomis is going to be the duty of lead guitar playing. And I was praying like, no, please, please not him, because he deserves so much more than Obscura. And then they played the first shows and we all knew who is going to be the next guitar player. Luckily not Jeff Loomis, the next drummer and the next bassist. We have now Robin Seelhorst on bass, James Stewart from Decapitated on drums, and Kevin Olash on guitar. And I chatted with Kevin Olash after the Partisan show a little bit, and he seems to be like a really cool and really nice guy. And I actually like the solos of the first 2 singles that Obscura released so far, because yes, now they announced we have a new record, they have new songs, 2 of them are already out there, and the latest singer, Evenfall, started a little controversy. Christian, David and Alex had prohibited Stefan from using their material, but Alex revealed that the intro and the main melody of Evenfall are riffs Stefan wasn't authorized to use. It was his idea. The backlash in the comments of the video has been severe, with fans growing increasingly disappointed. And this leads to certain problems, because Alex may wanted to use that melody in a different song. And of course Christian was also thinking, wait a second, what if Stefan is also using riffs that I wrote back in the day, which I didn't give him the allowance to use? And yeah, there seemed to be more on the record that is not necessarily from Stefan, but nearly close to from Christian. So, I mean, we only can just wait till the new record is out there. But man, don't be too confused when you probably hear maybe a riff later in some future Christian Münster projects as well, because it is initially his riff and not the one that Stefan wrote. And this situation raised a question in me about Obscura's future. Can the band survive that downward spiral? After this, I could imagine that maybe label or booking agency will drop Obscura. The other band members, they didn't knew what was going on. I don't think that they weren't too much involved into the songwriting process, otherwise than writing solos or all this kind of stuff. I mean, Stefan is definitely going to continue, but I see in the comments of the singles that the fans are pissed, that they are disappointed, they are sad how everything evolved, like I, as a fan, am. Not only as somebody who has experienced the collateral damage that Stefan was putting to his other bandmates. There's so much more under the surface, believe me, that is like a huge shit show. But as a fan, I'm extremely disappointed as well. But what can Obscura do to prevent this downfall? Stefan should focus more on his strengths, vocal and all business related stuff. Maybe delegate some guitar parts, maybe doing it like Winter Sun, where the guitar player also starts only focusing on singing and not playing guitar, even though that he was a great guitar player. Or doing it like in Alkaloid, where we have 3 guitar players, but Morian, the vocalist, is not playing guitar all the time. And there are so many great German guitar players out there where I think, okay, they could definitely do the job. Like, let's say, for example, Kevin Heinrich, the guy who covered nearly everything from Obscura so far. Even though that he will end the show 20% faster than everybody else in the band. Just kidding, but I love, for example, the videos of Kevin Heinrich. Musically, I totally can understand when people want to expand their music and when they want to do something more. But forcing something into the direction where the masses will more like it never really worked out for so many bands. I mean, there are so many bands out there who tried to expand their market to the masses and failed. And then there's so many bands out there who gained success again by returning to their roots, like Megadeth, for example. Obscura must return to what defined them. Innovative, technically ambitious music, even though that this fan base is a niche. But I always say, and I always recommend, never underestimate the niche. I can make a proper living out of a small niche. And this niche has a fan base who are loyal, who stands behind the music, who's sharing, who's not only celebrating the music, but they are also sharing the music. Your main core target audience is so important, and don't get distracted by the masses out there. For me, Obscura was a decade-long beacon of excellence. I always cherish Cosmogenesis, Omnivium, Akroasis, Diluvium, and even a Valediction. I'm curious about what's next, but a part of me mourns what once was.